Hey nerds, it's AlanSoBlank. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see if I can make a living trading penny stocks. In this video, I'm going to review my first short recap. It's going to go over the first month of me short selling. Short selling is basically me betting against the stock for the stock price to go down, and I did a good this month. My account grew. I originally funded my Trade Zero account, which is the account that I'm short selling with. I funded it with $2,500, and now after the end of the month it's basically at $3,100, so I grew it by about 24%. Okay, so now I can get into the trade recaps. Okay, so now I'm on Instagram. I'll scroll down here. I just decided to take a picture here with a sweet pepper in my mouth. And yeah, but this is the first post that I made my first short trade on VXRT. I'm not going to read the whole caption on these posts. I'm not going to read the caption. You could pause the video if you want to do that. So now if I go here, so this is the first trade I made. I shorted after the breakdown. So the red circle is where I shorted and the green circle is where I covered. And on this trade, so on these trades, I bet about 20% of my account. So I started with 2,500, and on this trade I made like 9% or $45. And then I included some screenshots here. So you see that I'm not just making this up. That my gains, I'm providing some proof. Okay, so then the next trade was on BHTG. And on this one, I shorted after the double top at $4. And I made about a 10% gain on that one. And then the next trade was on BYFC. And so this one I shorted after it looked like it's not gonna go and retest $3, or it's high. I shorted at like $3 and then I covered, and I made about 10% on that one also. And so here you could see my account's growing where it says equity. I'm up to like $2,600 there. Okay, now I'll go to my next trade. So the next one was on LMFA. And on this one I made about a 15% gain. And this one on the daily chart, it kind of already had a resistance from these previous days, or on the 20-day 1 hour chart. There was resistance around like 250. I ended up just shorting like at 2, and then I covered at 167. So you could see I made $60 that day. Okay, and then the next one was on UMRX. And so this one I considered it a bad trade because I shorted kind of early, like right when a few minutes after the market opened. It ended up going about 30% higher from where I shorted, but then it ended up going down, and I made money on that one, but I could have got squeezed and lost money. Okay, and on that one you can see I made 72%, and as my account grows and I keep betting about 20% of my account, I can start taking bigger positions, and so I'll end up making more money. And so on this one I said I stayed disciplined. I waited for a lower high and basically like a double top. And so this one I didn't risk a lot before I shorted. Or I didn't risk a lot before I covered. Okay, this one was my first $100 trade. Alright, and now this one I ended up making 34%, which was $206 in this case. And I'm not going to read this caption here. So on this one I shorted in the morning, and then I ended up covering around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And so a lot of these shorts you can see pre-market that they tend to gap up over 100%, and I call that an overextended gap up, and then I try to short those. And so that's like just the basic pattern, I guess. So like a gap up short. And so you could see here where I shorted, it ended up going up a little higher, but then I was looking at the pre-market high, which it quickly rejected and went down. And these were just some other stocks. And this one, EQ, ended up doing like a big short squeeze, but I wasn't watching this one because I was in the other trade. And this was another one, Weemy. This one went from like $3 to over $30 in like 3 days. Okay, but here you can see the PNL that I made $206. Okay, and so now my account has gone up at this point over 3,000. And then I ended up trying to short Weemy on the first red day, but it didn't really go down as much as I would like. I just ended up making 5% on that one. And then I shorted JRCR. And that one was kind of another sympathy play. You can see that it gapped up from like $10 to $30 pre-market, and that's why I ended up shorting it. Okay, so with this one though, I did get in. It wasn't really a good entry. I kind of shorted at a double bottom, or after double bottom, instead of waiting to see if $30 can be retested. Or I could have waited like for the breakdown and then shorted at like $23 or something like that. Anyway, though, I ended up risking like almost as much as I ended up making on JRCR. Okay, and then that was my gain on JRCR, 115. And so now this one is the first trade of the 4th week, DPW, and then I kind of made the same mistake. I shorted at the double bottom after the red to green move, instead of waiting for the double top or the higher low. And then but it didn't break the pre-market high, and DPW had heavy resistance on the daily chart. On this day, it traded the day that it went to $6.55. It traded like over 100 million volume. And then it basically kind of did the same thing the day that I shorted it. It gapped up to like $5, and then it just dumped the rest of the day. Okay, and then that's my gain there. And then this was the second trade. So on this one I shorted pre-market, and the stock though, it spiked like 10% after market open, but then it went down, and I made 23% on this stock. And this stock also, it kind of had heavy resistance if you look on the daily chart, around $20. And that's why I shorted this one. And then finally now, so at this point my account was like over $3,300. And then on this one I finally had my first loss shorting. So I did 12 trades in the month, and then on the 12th trade it was like a 29% loss. And basically I didn't wait for a good risk-reward ratio when I was shorting, and I kind of did the same mistake that I did on the other trades where I short soon after the double bottom. And so in this case, on the daily chart, this one didn't have heavy resistance, because on the day that it went to $14 in like 2018, the volume was very low, and the day that I traded it, the volume was very high. So what I should have done was wait on this day, like around 7:45, I can start to see that the stock repeatedly, or the candles, they repeatedly rejected the $14 breakout. They were closing below $14, so around 7:45 I could have shorted around $14 and only risked the high of day or 63 cents instead of shorting where I shorted at $10.50 and risking the high of day, which was only $13 at the time that I shorted. Okay, so that's basically it for my trade recap. And so you can see the loss, and then my account dropped to like $3,100. And then it also dropped to, or it doesn't show it here, but the stock was expensive to short sell because when I located the shares, it cost like $60 to locate. But it doesn't show it here. When I short sell, I have to locate shares, and when they are hard to borrow, this broker, to borrow the shares, it can be expensive. Okay, so that's it though. So overall though, I still had my first green month, and I grew my account by about 24%. So I will stick to short selling because when I bought, I have never documented that I made a profit in 1 month worth of buying stocks. Okay, so that's it for the trade recap. Goodbye.